7th, 2025. Welcome, everyone. First order of business is to entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of the March 17th meeting.
I so moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the minutes of March 17, 2025. Mr. Hoffer?
Yes.
Ms. Moore? Yes. Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Minutes are adopted.
I would now entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of special meeting for March 24th, 2025. Is there a motion?
Yes, I think that we accept those minutes.
Is there a second?
A second.
We have a motion to second. Any additions, deletions, corrections to that set of minutes? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the minutes of this special meeting held March 24th, 2025. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Minutes are adopted.
Item number 3, payment of bills in the amount of $87,638.98, comprised of $10,128.65 general fund, $74,2501 cemetery fund, fire fund $64,639.07, road fund $5,446.25. Is there a motion to approve payment?
Yes, I move that we pay the bills.
Second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any question about paying these accounts? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
I have a question.
Wait a minute.
Was that 2 payrolls?
Yeah.
2 payrolls. That's remarkable. Plus a payout of vacation cover.
No, that hasn't come out yet.
Neither one?
So that'll be a big one on the next one.
Yeah. Times 2.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's been moved and seconded to approve payment of bills in the amount of $87,638.98 as enumerated. Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Correspondence during the period, or any correspondence that anyone wants to bring before the board? I have one that we're going to need to address sometime relatively soon. You've probably seen the correspondence. It's been here for a couple of weeks, I think. Our township records from 1880, I think it was, until about 1964, were all reviewed and approved by the state for retention or destruction a while ago. And the ones that were not destroyed were transferred to Wright State in their special collections and archives. A fair amount of them. It might have been 10 boxes of records that went over there. Obviously old stuff when we used to have a justice of the peace, and there's records of the long, extensive records of the findings and proceedings and decisions on who was right and who was wrong, and who had to pay $25 for the hog that ran away, and all that good stuff back in the day. We also were responsible for keeping records for the schools, and we have lots of years of how many children there were and what grades they were, and my memory's not 100% accurate with how that was. Bunches of records, including minutes for all those years. Those are there. Now, Wright State has decided that they are full up in storage and would like to return, for various reasons, would like to return all those records to us. Now, we have 3 choices. One is to go get them, bring them home, put them somewhere, remember, if it's let Wright State, I think it's let Wright State go through them, and I have, if anybody wants it, a record of what's over there. All very interesting. And they will decide, I believe they will decide what is truly historical and needs to be kept, and what isn't, and what is would be transferred to the Ohio History Connection in Columbus for permanent storage there. So we need to decide at some time what we want to do with these. I would ask.
Those are two options, you said, that three?
I thought there was a third. There might be as it comes through, but
Is there a deadline?
yeah, April 23rd. So between now and then, I think we could probably squeeze this in on the 21st. If you two might review the records that they're holding, and then on the 23rd, decide what your preference is for disposal or return of them. Not disposal, but
But then you deal with it at Ring Home?
right. I don't know what to tell you. They're all very interesting. I guess I was in charge.
In 1880?
No, might have been in 2001 or 2 or whenever we took them over. I mean, in theory, Margaret and I were in charge, but she couldn't meet those times that we were going through them. So I went through all of them and made those decisions. And I submitted them all to the state. I mean, it wasn't all my decision. I wrote the R1, whatever, form on every single one and sent it over, and they approved storing them for historical purposes. So, I would not want to dispose of them, even if we could. I'm concerned about keeping them in our records retention room, records storage room, retention room. In my mind, it might not be the absolute safest place to keep records of that age, of that historical nature.
Maybe
Fine.
because of moisture and...
Potential of fire, moisture, yes, the humidity, and we try and keep it dehumidified in the summer and heated some in the winter, but not to a 100% archival degree. And obviously, these are old documents. So I would probably, as much as I'd hate to have them in Columbus, not that we can't access them, you can always go and look at them, and anybody could. But I would probably be more comfortable with them being there than having them here. That's just my opinion from somebody who went through them. But
So go through it and we'll come to a decision on April 21st and let them know?
yep, if that's acceptable to you too.
Well, I don't know how many archivists they have at Wright State, but the relatively new one lives in town. Be interesting to see what she says. Not that she makes a decision on this, I'm just...
Right. Okay, any other correspondence? There's lots of correspondence in there, but probably for our purposes, that would be the main one that we would want to address. Okay, item number 4, public addition to the agenda. Is there any member of the public here that would like to speak on any of the items on the agenda? If they have a copy of the agenda. There are some new faces. I just want to remind everyone that if you, at any point during the meeting, if you'd like to speak, please make yourself known to the board, and we'll ask you what it refers to. If it's apropos to what we're discussing, that might be a good time. If it's something out of the agenda for the moment, we either put it off or just have to pass on it. So please and thank you. Hearing none, we'll move to the fire department.
I would just like board to put under new business the Girl Scouts wanting to plant a tree.
Are you just going to,
And I'll just,
Related.
it might just be my notice of it, but if other trustees have comments, that would be welcome.
and the solar exclusion zone is not on the agenda today? You have to plan to speak about that?
Oh, you're right.
Under zoning?
Wherever you want to put it, but the
I
solar
didn't know if
exclusion.
you were going to report on that tonight.
Yeah.
All right, let's put it under zoning. Okay.
Alrighty. So run total since our last meeting, we've done a total of 62, 45 EMS, 12 fire, 3 mutual aid, and we sent 2 of our own out to other departments for their mutual aid. Just an update for our protocol testing EMS council. So the initial process is all done. Hopefully by the end of April, mid-May timeframe, we should be all tested and on board
Oh, for the new people?
for everybody. Yep. Yep. That's including getting proctors and setting all that up on our end.
Wait. Are you speaking of the new hires in LPNF, or are you speaking of?
Greene County EMS, or not Greene County, sorry, Greater Miami Valley EMS Council.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful.
So we're looking actually at a trade-in program for some of our larger, more expensive unused stuff that we have sitting around now, especially for like our EMS equipment. We can trade it in through Boundtree and hopefully get a store credit back on that, which is going to help kind of offset some of our other costs that we have to like buy new equipment and things like that.
What do you think we get for Randy?
Not much, 50 cents maybe. It's missing a nose and a leg and a hand and an arm.
He's had a hard life. That's our training mannequin.
Yeah. Also through Boundtree, this is something I found out through my Greene County Fire Chiefs meetings, that Boundtree is offering a replacement for IO drivers. If you know anything about our IO drivers, it's what we use to drill into like the bone. So we can do like IV fluids and stuff like that. They're about $600 a pop. They're only good for about 500 uses. You can't recharge them. You just got to toss them. If you test it to make sure it works, that's considered a use. So the new ones that Boundtree is offering are about $1,000. They're rechargeable. It's going to get better, I promise.
Okay.
I promise. They're rechargeable. They last longer. They actually tell you how many uses are left to them. And our first 2 are going to be free.
2, how many?
Just 2.
Oh.
How do you get 2 free, and then you don't buy any more?
We're going to trade in our 2.
Well, I like that trade in there.
Yeah. So
Why do
we're
we
gonna-
drill into the bone?
Yeah.
Why do we? I don't need to know. I just,
Easier access. You can get an IV started.
oh, okay,
Right in the old marrow there.
Right, in the old marrow.
okay.
So yeah, so we still have to pay for the needles. They're about $140 a pop for each needle size. We have to have about 4. So it's going to be about $1,000 for all of our needles to stock up on. Have at least 1 extra in case we need it.
Better keep a track of all that.
Yeah. Tanker 81's been moved out to Station 82 to kind of get it out of the way. We're going to start trying to get some of the lettering off of it as well. And then we kind of started that project and then it kind of got abandoned. So we're going to pick that back up. Mech 81 is out at Atlantic for repairs.
That's the older one?
Yeah, it's the older medic. Yeah. I'm not sure when that'll be back. Gym roof is still leaking. Called Maxim again. Hopefully they'll be back out. I'm just waiting for them to call me back.
Nothing better than a flat roof that leaks.
Right. He did patch a bunch of holes that were already up there, but I don't know where this is coming from. So.
Oh, that holds in a metal roof. Is part of it rubber?
Yeah, the top of it is rubber and then rubberized. Dan, you want to let Nate know what the approved solution is for removing lettering?
Is it painted?
That's gold leaf.
Off of it there. Brave on that says, you know, that won't work today.
Appreciate it. Right. Due to our staffing and since we had an officer leave, we'd like to fulfill the position of an officer and appoint Justin Turner, firefighter paramedic, to the position of interim lieutenant.
Interim? Do we need to vote on that?
Let's make it official. Is there a motion to vote to move Justin Turner to an interim lieutenant position?
I move that we move paramedic Justin Turner to interim lieutenant.
I
Paramedic.
second that.
Motion to second. Any further discussion regarding that motion? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to appoint firefighter paramedic Justin Turner as interim lieutenant of the fire department. Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Butcher?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Appoint Joseph Kelly, new hire. He's our new part-time.
Yes.
Oh, we got all.
Let's make him feel welcome and give him everything he wants.
Well, within reason.
Just offhand, is the spelling here accurate, or is there, you have an extra E in there?
I may have added an extra E. My apologies.
Do you want a motion?
Is there a motion to approve?
I would have moved to appoint Joseph Kelly, to hire Joseph Kelly,
Part-time. Firefighter.
part-time firefighter.
EMT.
Yes, firefighter EMT.
I second that.
There's a motion to second. Any further discussion regarding that motion? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Joseph Kelly, part-time firefighter EMT. And Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Butcher?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
And then, last but not least, reclassify Evan France, current volunteer, to part-time.
Yes.
This is an internal. I don't think we need a motion for that.
Okay.
Anything for the chief? Anything else from the chief? Entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of
Legal matters.
legal matters, I guess, yes.
I see it says times two. We need 2 executive sessions. Do we just double them up, or do we have to come back?
No, we have to come back.
Okay.
I move that we go into executive
I
session
second.
for the stated purpose.
A second.
Second, may we vote, please?
Moved and seconded to adjourn to executive session to discuss legal matters. Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Ms. Moyer? Yes. Mr. Butcher?
Yes.
Adjourned at 5:21.
We turned at
I have 5:26.
5:26. Turn the floor over to Trustee Moyer for a couple of items for business.
As many of you know, we've had a internal investigation going on about complaints regarding our former fire chief. The investigation was done by a neutral, an outside.
Actually, current fire chief just, I mean,
Absolutely.
Cindy knows that, but
Yes.
she'll
Current fire
she'll make it.
Yes.
Okay.
The investigation was done by an outside law firm, a neutral party, and she has delivered disciplinary charges for us so that we may conduct a hearing. And we are today accepting these charges into the official record. And we have a resolution to set the date for the disciplinary hearing. Resolution, I believe, 2025-11.
Correct.
Resolution setting disciplinary hearing, whereas the Board of Trustees of Miami Township, Greene County, Ohio has received for filing written charges against Dennis Powell pursuant to ORC Sections 505.38 and 733.35 and 733.39. And whereas the Board of Trustees finds that this is in the best interest of the township and its residents to establish proceedings in conformity with the aforementioned sections. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Miami Township, Greene County, Ohio, that the following resolution be and it hereby adopted. Resolved that the board has received filings for written charges against Dennis Powell, hereby orders and directs that a true copy of the aforementioned charges be served upon Dennis Powell and return thereof be made to the board, all as provided in the ORC 733.35. Be it further resolved that the aforementioned charges shall come on for hearing before the Board of Trustees, Miami Township, Greene County, at its next regularly scheduled meeting, Monday, April 21st, 2025, at 5 p.m. at Miami Township offices, 101 Herman Street, Yellow Springs, Ohio. Unless the Board of Trustees extends the time for the hearing upon application of Dennis Powell. Be it further resolved that the pursuant to ORC Section 733.38, subpoenas or compulsory process to compel the attendance of persons and the production of books and papers may be issued by or upon request to the board in a manner hereinafter provided. And it lists 4 different ways people can be subpoenaed to appear. And at the end, this resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after the date of its adoption, which is April 7th, 2025.
We have a resolution. Is there a motion to adopt a resolution 2025-11?
I so move.
Need a second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding this resolution? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
I'll need a copy of that for the appropriate title. It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2025-11, setting a disciplinary hearing, April 21st, 2025. Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Okay.
Okay, now, I would entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session for, are we doing legal matters again? I guess so. Legal matters number 2. Chief Eric, could you join us for this, please?
Do you want to go through do you want to go through the motion in a second?
Touch your head later today. You work here, right?
Is there a motion to move executive session?
I moved it, and I second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
photograph the
Adjourned
agenda when I
at
came in.
5:31.
Oh, I see.
38.
We'll return to public session at 5:38. We have a couple of decisions that need to be made as a result of the executive session. This is concerning an employment discrimination charge that was filed against the fire chief and then, of course, the board, all of the board. And through the advice of our prosecuting attorney, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve a settlement offer to end these charges that will be made by the attorney.
I so move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second regarding these settlement agreement, potential settlement agreement. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
I'm not, you're going to have to help me with the wording here, please. It's been moved and seconded to, are you offering or
Yes.
offer to present a potential settlement offer on an employee discrimination charge?
Yes.
Sufficient?
Mhm.
Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
The motion's approved.
And now I entertain a motion that in the event the settlement offer is refused, that we would go into a mediation for the resolution of this charge. And just for general knowledge, if the mediation fails, then it would go to a full investigation by the Civil Rights Commission, but we don't need to move that because we don't have a choice. That would be the automatic next step if the mediation were to fail.
I would make a motion that we, well, I forget how I said it now. You got it?
I think so.
Okay, I so move.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
Been moved and seconded, and if said settlement offer is refused, the matter will then be referred to mediation. Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Mucci?
Yes.
The motion's approved.
Any further fire department business this evening?
No.
We have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Stockwell.
I'm sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to ask if the hearing that you discussed in the previous resolution is public or not?
That's up to the defendant.
Okay, and then the second question is, the charges you've just discussed with two motions, are those at some point to be public or not?
I would assume so,
That's all my questions were.
but like many things, it would be at the resolution point, then they would be public.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We'll move along to the cemetery report.
Good evening. Since the last meeting, we had one burial with ashes in Glen Forest, and we have one Wednesday, full burial in Glen Forest coming up. We started the mowing process today. Probably start at Clifton tomorrow sometime. Start mowing the cemetery. It's on, grass is tall. Dig the grave and then we'll. We rolled the cemetery in Clifton last week. That helped out.
Did you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But other than that, that's about all I have. When the weather breaks, we can get back and do a little bit more in the back. So, a little muddy right now.
Yeah, no kidding. What is it?
That's about all I have. Do you have anything for me?
I don't. Other members of the board?
I did find, you had reminded me that we approved $15,000 for the, what are you calling the back section that's beyond?
The Pine Forest Natural Burial.
Pine Forest. Burial. And we had approved $15,000 for landscape design, setting the path, gravel paths, and then that's what it said. I wonder where we are with that. We've had some purchases recently, and are we?
As I mentioned earlier, I think we're right around 10,000,
Okay, so just check it in.
maybe a little less.
Okay. And it's a gravel path back there? I know that will go through the, okay.
When it dries out, yeah,
I was over there the other day.
it's
yeah.
impressive.
It does look pretty nice. I
And
say so
those-
myself.
I have a few questions. Those will be ashes only. And remind me that the Oak Grove Cemetery could be ashes or full burial.
Yes, just like every other place in the cemetery.
So
In Glen Forest.
somebody's put on a tree and tree, and then there are people between them, and they're all. And will there be headstones allowed there?
Yes.
So,
You have the choice of two ways of doing it. You can have a flat marker, very similar to what's in the prairie section now,
yeah.
24 by 18, something like that, no more than 3 inches.
Followed it, yeah.
Or the person, the family member, would acquire a boulder, a small boulder, a big stone, a small boulder, no more than 200, 225 pounds, something like that, and then have a bronze plaque put on the boulder. Remember the
At their
pictures?
gravesite?
Yes, remember the pictures I sent?
Yeah.
The Cincinnati
So-
burial?
I know we have, I'm just thinking about the future. I know we have a very expensive contract to mow in the traditional area because of all the headstones, and it's just very expensive to have a mower and then all the weed whipping and everything. Like, I think a $20,000 a year. contract for the traditional, do we anticipate that for the Oak Grove, for the Oak Grove?
The Oak Grove?
Yeah.
We are mowing the Oak Grove now. We have for the last 3 years.
And in the future, when we have lots of headstones there, it would probably be similar to what the tradition was now?
Well, perhaps that's a ways in the future.
It is a ways in the future, but I'm thinking about funding for the future and the maintenance for the future. So I'm just starting to try to get a handle on what future trustees might be.
We could just turn all this over to AI.
Based on the amount of income that the Oak Grove, the Prairie, and what I assume will be the income from the Pine Forest one, the maintenance cost is going to be minimal.
Yeah, we can save that for another night.
Okay.
And my comment about AI is not totally sarcastic. That is, we may have mowing without a human.
Yes, we may.
Great. What are humans for? What are we all going to do? Just sit and look at each other?
Good question.
Off the record.
Anything else for item 7, cemetery report? Item 8, road report.
Okay, the tree on Hyde that took out our guardrail, everything has been cleaned up and the guardrail fixed.
That's good.
The counties, they took care of it.
Good.
Yeah, helped us out. We didn't
Hey,
have
on which road?
Hyde,
Oh,
the big tree that was
Yes.
still there last week.
that was dramatic.
Yeah, it was. So that's off our schedule. We don't have to fix it. And again, we started mowing today. Circle,
Your berms are good for a couple of weeks.
yeah, all right.
Okay.
For another 6 weeks probably.
Yeah. Oh, with this rain, who knows?
Yeah, right. And I'll try to get this place this week. It needs it.
Do you have any information about the collective bid?
Jurgensen got the bid. I don't know how soon they're going to do it, but Jurgensen did get the bid.
And what's our portion?
Jacoby,
He needs money.
$49,000? 49,000, 48,500, something like that.
somewhere, yeah. That's for the paving.
Right.
And we've got fog seal and Harbison and North River get fogged.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's 13,000, I think.
I just saw the paving one.
That's money we'll be paying out of 2042.
And tomorrow night is the county engineer's report.
It's certainly a must see right over there.
Can't wait.
I went out and looked at the roads here the other day. Confirm for me that a couple of years ago, we were informed that the last 50 feet of Larkins, we used to think was Cedarville's,
It's like 100 foot, yeah, it was Cedarville's.
but it's not. It's
Well, he
ours.
gave it back to us.
Yeah,
Ronnie did.
Yeah.
It was theirs, and he said, I'm giving that back to you.
yeah. I don't know if you have any plans to ask any of your friendly neighboring townships to do any blacktop patching, like you do sometimes.
Possibly, we could do a little wedging this year on a couple of places. But I'm thinking of 2 places where we might try the Durapatch to hold it together, because it works, you know. I'd like to wedge them, if I can get Xenia to Durapatch, it's a gravel emulsion mix,
Yeah.
and it works. It helps hold it together, especially like Tanner Road and Harbison, there's 2 spots where
Yeah.
trash trucks tear us up in the ground in January.
But back to the patching, that section before the intersection of Clifton Road and Larkins, it is really beat up.
And Clifton Road in,
And so if that's something that's possible,
we can do,
that would
sure.
be great. Yeah.
I'll figure out, get an idea what it would cost.
I saw some sorted small potholes, but nothing to
There's a few could be filled.
lose any sleep over.
Yeah, Okay, I'll find out what we can do that for. Get things fixed up.
Have you used all your cold patch? Yeah, I didn't see a pile of it up
But again, I can get some.
there. Yeah. Anything else for the road? Then we'll move to fiscal officer's report. Fiscal officer?
I don't think I have anything very earth-shattering. Now that sort of the chaos mode things and priority one list are getting more to death, trying to go more to secondary list, including things like we talked about with how all the minutes and all the resolutions are going to be stored. So now I have kind of that list also that I'm trying to, because I know the protocol has changed. You used to have it in the record book, but I think now with the digital age, I went to one of those meetings at the OTA conference. So just getting ducks in a row on things like that, loose ends.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything else substantial.
Yeah. I've been doing the game this year is keep our year, as much as we can, keep our year-to-date spending, tracking that so we can keep a close eye.
Yeah.
Keep a close eye on that. Okay, I think that's all.
And I printed already like some of the online vouchers, some of those are already in there, the checks, like trying to
Yeah.
put those as I pay them online so that it's not all
Cool.
back. Yeah.
Good, we're making progress.
Yeah.
Making good progress.
One thing I did notice, well, actually, it was pointed out to me from an in-house accountant, is, are you three aware that we were paid 13 times last year? We had 13 checks.
How is that possible? No, I wasn't aware.
The January one is dated like December 31st or 30th or something like that.
Do you mean January of 2023 or 2024?
January 2025.
And not speaking of every firefighter in the whole place, we're talking about just the elected officials. Wow.
So-
What accountant told you that?
My in-house accountant.
Oh, in your house. Wow, we better report that.
Well, you're going to have to report it to the IRS if nothing
Well,
else.
it's reflected on our W-2.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
But still in all, I'm not sure the auditor is going to be made real
Wow, I wonder how
pleased
that happened.
that we were either overpaid or underpaid.
So,
Well, I'm not sure what happened with the first 4 months that I wasn't
yeah,
here.
let's make it clear that Gina wasn't here.
But there are also, I'm trying to think of ways that certainly could be possible, like if you were paid on the first of every month and then like December 31st also for the coming, instead of the first of the next year, so that 13 would show up instead of 12. You know what I mean? That easily could happen because she might not have wanted to work on the first, or,
Perhaps would your accountant have noticed if we had 11 pays the year before?
No, but we should have 11 this year.
Okay.
I imagine it will balance out. I doubt you got like double paid.
Okay.
It might have just been one thing with the date was slightly different. So I would imagine it will all come out in the wash with whatever 2025 W-2s would be. Yeah.
True, but we were paid 1 month's salary in 2024 extra. We were paid 13 times.
Okay, well,
All right.
I'll get on that, check it out.
Make sure you weren't
Give
double
them
paid and that it wasn't just like, for, like I said, it couldn't be 13 if you were paid the first, and then the 31st of something.
So we'd like to go-
Because they did it a day prematurely.
Like maybe we weren't paid in January of 25.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
could have happened. But we can double check that certainly.
I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just, it's,
Yeah, well, thank your accountant for us.
yeah, but I just, if our friendly auditor has a complaint, that's probably why.
You know a friendly auditor? You know a friendly auditor?
Chummy folks. Anything else for the fiscal officer? to item number 10. This is the zoning administrator's report. He is out of town this evening, so we're going to skip
Well,
that.
Don
I'd like to
item-
the exception
Don, I to that. I yield now.
that trustee Hollister would like to speak on some zoning matters, and we also have some zoning commission matters to attend to. So, Mr. Hollister, the floor is yours.
At our request 2 years ago, the county commission voted to exclude utility scale solar in part of the township, basically south and east of the Little Miami River. But it was for 2 years, and that will expire in early July.
Late July, yeah.
Or I don't have the exact date, and I've had a couple conversations with the county administrator and the county commission. Is prepared to vote on that again if we request it. They can do it without our request, but they need a little over a month. They have to have hearings and give notice of the hearings to the related municipalities and other jurisdictions. And I was thinking this might be an occasion, they would have a hearing for that, but there have been various solar issues that have come up, not necessarily township, but in the township and the village. I'm interested in organizing and having the township co-sponsor, if we can, maybe the development corporation, maybe the village, maybe citizens group. The status of solar in the township, we've had some households have had solar for 20 years. And the college has a solar field, the village has a solar field, and the Development Corporation got one grant for studying options for community solar. Am I right that the second grant didn't get approved? So rather than view this just as an isolated request to the county commission, have this be another step in community discussion about solar. We could view these separately, but I think it's timely to. So I would be aiming to do this in early May.
Is this the required public hearing to
We don't have to.
forward?
We don't have to do a hearing. The county commission does.
That made to do it the last time.
They asked us to last time. I would,
In fact, they said they wouldn't consider it unless we had a
This
little.
time they said that's not necessary.
Oh, is that right?
I just.
Well, then we can view it that way. We can say this isn't.
I'm not in favor, you didn't state clearly, you're talking about reasserting, well, the exclusion zone we have is temporary, 2-year.
Yeah.
Are you proposing, and I know Jennifer, you asked us to consider making it permanent. For one thing, at this moment, I'm not in favor of that. And it's doubtful that I will be. I could tell you what has changed. I wrote the first one to give us time, to give you guys a reprieve. You had fought a long legal battle. Many things had come in, many things that we didn't know about the answers to, about environmental impacts or effect on the Little Miami River or things. And we said we were going to take these 2 years to educate ourselves. I feel like I've educated myself and I've come to the point where I no longer support it. And that's fine, I'm just one person.
That is, you no longer support the exclusion.
I no longer support the exclusion, both for landowners' rights, the concessions that at least the person that owns the interconnection has made. Like they've come to us, they're talking about a lot of the things that we challenged them on. The setbacks, enormous setbacks, and different things that they came and spoke to us about. And thirdly, it's actually an income. It would be a tax revenue for the township that I'm not necessarily going to dismiss as valuable. So what I'm trying to decide is, now I voted last time that we should have a public hearing to decide whether we want to pursue this, or public hearing to hear what the people say. But when you say you want to add things about, what the college is doing, what we're doing, and what this person did, and then not to mention the mess with the large solar that isn't industrial that the zoning commission is dealing with now, that's a whole other ball of wax. That's quite different than the industrial solar. And so it's hard for me to imagine a room full of people who could keep all those things straight and come out with a definitive check on what the township wants to do.
I get your point that I still think there's value in what I'm proposing, but now is probably not the time to do it. I am in favor of asking the county commission to do a permanent exclusion.
Okay.
And then I could vote on that tonight, or we could have a hearing about that.
There was a vote taken last meeting.
Pardon?
There was a vote taken last meeting. Trustee Hollister moved to schedule a public hearing to discuss the potential
authorized
extension.
to put together a public meeting.
And when I talked about that with Brandon Huddleston, the county administrator, he said that was not necessary. But
My concern is, did you represent that we want to do this? And so he said, yeah, don't worry about the hearing if you want to do it. I don't know how it was represented to him.
I would say I represented it as when they requested, and so I made a mistake. Well, I'll back off on that, and we've talked about the timing. Needs to be done by the middle of May. Would you folks be happy with a Wednesday night?
Probably working into my busy schedule.
So we've already authorized the hearing, so.
Yeah, that's my mistake.
What was I going to say? I wanted to say, we calculated the date in order to give everybody enough notice. We should, if we were going to have a resolution asking to do that, we would want it written by the middle of May. However, it expires on the July 27th. I mean, that doesn't mean the lights go out. It means that, okay, if it doesn't get approved till, August 5th, that's, unless a developer came in that week and wanted to put something up, that deadline isn't a scary one. It's just one that's marking time.
I will go ahead and publicize a hearing on Wednesday, May 7th at 7 o'clock.
Before I open this up to the floor, since you two have expressed your personal interest in how this would go, we have a permanent, we have a none. I would only support another temporary exclusion. I have long been opposed to doing anything permanent as an elected official. I'm not here permanently. None of us are here permanently. I don't know why we want to saddle future boards of trustees with any permanence that we may
There is-
favor. And I realize that
I acknowledge-
everything can be changed,
Yes,
but
I acknowledge
it still
that
says
there's-
permanent.
that there is a difference, but the county commission can always cancel.
We can always cancel, that's not the point. My point is my personal preference is not to pass permanent projects or resolutions or desires from the board, especially desires from the board. And we are not permanent here. And again, I don't want to tell future boards what to do. I know they can change it at will, but still, it's just a personal preference.
Well, informally, the county commission did discuss is overstating it. They were made aware of this Thursday, this last week. And I will go ahead with the May 7th, publicizing the May 7th hearing on this.
Any members of the public who would like to express anything regarding this issue?
I guess I can if you want me to. You're looking right at me. So I appreciate you guys re-looking at it. I am in line with Dawn's opinion that permanent is better because it is a temporary permanent. It can be removed by the county at any time. And while you guys may not be permanent, we're permanent. Like, I live here, I want to stay here, I want to keep wanting to stay here. So from my perspective, permanent is best. But I would take a temporary if that's all I can get. That's my feedback.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anyone else? Fred?
Yeah, I just have a question about such a hearing. Will it be confined to the issue of industrial, large-scale, more than 50 megawatt solar exclusion, or will it have some other boundaries, such as less than 50 megawatts, the commercial solar in the township? Will that be is that a part of the current exclusion, or I think not, so is that a separate topic or part of the hearing? I'm just trying to unmuddle my understanding of what the hearing includes.
Well, the formal purpose of the hearing is very narrow. It is,
Yeah. And
but
there's another thing going on there.
people could make side statements. I suspect
It
it's not
gets
going
funny
to be.
because the zoning commission right now that's what's on their plate, is everything under 50 megawatts. So they're the body that's taking in that information, and I assume they're going to, at some point, have something to give to us to consider.
That's not my personal impression, but sure.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's to consider not allowing it, I mean, something back. So I'm trying to think, I know there are people who have tried to communicate with that board those opinions. I don't know if then we open it up and say, have that conversation here at the same time while they're deliberating. It seems confusing to me, but I don't know if you have an opinion, Chris.
Personally, I think they should have their own public meeting about the intermediate zoning, or intermediate solar that they're considering, because obviously they have no holdover large-scale solar. So, this type of meeting for large scale is apropos to countywide, township-wide, as opposed to specific to the zoning code that we are not enacting. Or we're not writing, I should say. Kate?
Yes. This hearing, it's my hope that it would have rationale. There are reasons people want for there to be an exclusion zone. There are reasons people think that an exclusion zone is not the best idea. The idea of evidence-based, the idea of presenting a rationale, this is why we think this should be, this is why we think this shouldn't be, is my hope that the hearing would be designed in such a way as to hear not only opinion, but also rationale.
If it's going to be a public meeting, you will have all comers with all of those ideas.
That was my thought, Fred.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say, you may not speak unless you present you a list of references. You cannot say that at a public hearing.
I don't
In my
want this side to
mind.
be for it and this side to be against it, and, you know.
Yeah, and the fact that we've already stated which side, I guess we're stating where we're leaning now, more than what we've decided. Otherwise, what's the point of a public hearing?
To hear other people's points of view, of course.
Yes,
You may say, oh, I hadn't thought about that.
right.
Any other questions or comments? All right, say the date again, please, Don.
Wednesday, May 7th, 7 p.m.
And this will be for the consideration, reaction, general opinions regarding utility scale in the township.
Yes. So we will not then communicate we wouldn't have a resolution or motion to send to the county commission until our meeting on the 19th. But that's plenty of time.
Okay. All right, we will move along to other business within the zoning commission. This would be the appointment of 2 alternates to the zoning commission. One is with us this evening, Jennifer Adams. And there's nothing formal about this, Jennifer, just like there's nothing formal about most things that we do. Would you just like to express to the board or the public at large why you feel strongly enough about zoning issues to be a part of the commission?
Sure. So I started getting involved in the zoning process as far as reviewing zoning code, reviewing Ohio rules and regulations and administrative code, all of those things, about 6 years ago now. And we were kind of thrust into it because of the utility scale solar, and that is why I have an opinion about that. But through that process, I have, over the last 6 years, I've attended many township meetings, many regional planning meetings, become familiar with the county processes, regional planning's processes, the zoning commission's processes. You probably remember when I first walked in the door, I didn't have any idea what was going on. And I have an appreciation for how all of that works. I think I have a strong understanding of how it works. I am a township resident with, a difference of opinion than a lot of the current zoning commission members. So I think I can bring diversity to that, with also a good background of, what its function is and how things are supposed to operate.
Any questions for Ms. Adams?
Want to remind us what road you live on?
Harbison.
No other questions?
No, because I just assumed that you would take a wide interest in things beyond solar because they're interesting.
Oh, yeah. Already do.
Yeah,
They
sure.
talk about a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, sure.
Then entertain a motion to appoint Jennifer Adams as an alternate to the zoning commission.
I so move.
And I second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion regarding that motion? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Jennifer Adams as an alternate to the zoning commission. Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. All your efforts. We also have another applicant for another alternate position at the moment, Jane Sweet. She has expressed written interest and what she feels are her qualifications. She's been interviewed extensively by our zoning administrator, and he has recommended that she be a part of the zoning commission. In which case, I would entertain a motion to appoint Ms. Sweet as alternate number 2.
I so move.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any further discussion regarding that motion? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Jane Sweet as an alternate to the zoning commission. Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Missed anything? No. No standing committee reports today. Item number 12. There are 2 items. Girl Scouts in Glen Forest. Marilyn, I'm going to turn the Glen Forest part over to you, and Don, I'm going to turn the Girl Scouts over to you.
Okay, well, this is having to do with the Glen Forest Natural Burial in the Prairie section, and a phase 2 that a lot of us weren't aware of. We've seen many maps of our butterfly, the butterfly shape, and weren't aware of this. And we have a natural burial committee that has been closely watching how the prairie is progressing, and invasives, and the health of it. And last week you mentioned that there was going to be mowing, and then it turns out it was not only mowing, it was a phase 2 with, what is it, 2 on each side, 2 9-foot roads through the prairie that were, what, 100 feet, 160 feet long. And I have pictures, but we don't have to do pictures tonight, of our deep and heartfelt concerns of what a road that size would do to the prairie. It basically comes down to the more borders you put in, the more turf grass you put in, the faster, the more accelerated the loss of diversity and the infiltration of turf grass. And I'm not sure that I've been able to convince you, Chris, of how worried we are about the size of that road and what it would do. And I would, and you've kindly said that you'll hold off. And what you called phase 2 test, do you call it test? That you drop it at this time. Mm-hmm. And I would like to entertain a motion that it just not be postponed, but that if it were ever to be enacted, it would require the vote of the full board.
Well, that's fairly standard operating procedure, and that wouldn't have happened to begin with, but be that as it may, I'll certainly support that.
So you guys...
Did you move, or did you just, you were saying?
No, I don't know if I moved, but I would... I feel like it was about to happen.
Oh.
Okay.
You couldn't get any more preliminary other than not doing it.
So what were the flags and everything for?
Just to visualize.
Okay. Okay, so we're good.
Okay.
And we don't have to show pictures and please and... Okay. Would anybody else like to say
I actually
anything?
just have a quick question. Oh, would we be able to see the pictures at some point if we wanted to? Like
Sure.
of what the prairie, the design is?
Oh, the map?
Yeah.
There seems to be 2 maps. One that shows the existing roads and one that shows the existing road, the extra roads. So, yeah, it's the first I've ever seen it. I mean, I've always seen the one that, of what's there now, and I've never seen the one that was a phase 2. So, do we have a copy of that around?
Oh, sure. Dan's got, I don't have it in the other room. Dan's
So,
got multiple
Are you making a
copies.
public records request for the,
Oh.
no, you go ahead, then we have to.
I was just personally curious which one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I get that. Okay. So, anybody have anything else to say before we make a motion? Or should we need a motion? Oh, I move that that Prairie Phase 2 test require a full load of the board.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion regarding this? Mr. Stockwell.
You say the board, you don't mean the 3 township trustees, you mean something else. What board are you talking about?
I mean, the Board of Trustees.
Oh, you do mean the board of trustees, thank you.
Hearing no additional questions, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded that Prairie Phase 2 test will require a full vote of the Board of the Trustees. Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Motion approves.
Trustee Hollister?
The Yellow Springs Girl Scout Troop has expressed interest in planting a tree on this fire station property on Earth Day. That would be April 22nd. That's a Tuesday. And in anticipation of our saying that we'd be interested in entertaining that, I made an appointment the morning of April 10th, this Thursday morning, with, I'm blanking on her name, their troop leader. And if others wanted to go look at sites and talk about type of tree, they would like a tree that has noticeable blooms, so they can drive by years later and say, I helped plant that tree. I mean, this is what the troop leader expressed. The girls said they would like. We've had perhaps 3 different groups propose tree locations and tree varieties. I have here the map that in August 2023, Bob Houston made on behalf of the tree committee with a list of possible trees and then the trees that existed at that time. My thought is to follow this map and see what, I think likely something over near Marshall Street. Any reactions?
My only comment is I just want to make sure that whatever species, is chosen, trees are lovely things and they grow. Some of them grow tall and big, and some of them don't know too big to begin with. I don't know what species you're talking about, but they need to be kept out of the sight line of the fire department doors, both front and back. There wouldn't be much interference in the back, but I understand.
Well, there are understory trees that is, shorter trees in this list that do have blooms, and or significant limbs and are considered native in the list of suggestions.
I'm just, the only thing I'm concerned about is the sight line from the vehicles, north and south.
And this also respects that.
Okay. I didn't know if your Marshall Street side was set in stone or it was just a thought.
No, I don't think any of it's set in stone.
Well, it looks like this has been professionally considered, so I trust you and the Girl Scouts too. I'd love to come on April 10th, but I'm going to be out of town.
We will have a meeting after that before the planting.
Okay.
And I'll report on the 21st what they're, and they will also buy the tree. So I guess I'll email you all to,
Will they plant the tree?
yes.
May I interrupt? I see our guests about to bolt, and I wanted to make Don and Chris aware, and everyone else, that this is JT, who is our prairie specialist who's been working with us.
I thought he was our fountain specialist.
What?
I thought he was our fountain specialist.
Oh, you might give us some pointers about that too. So, I know you guys have a baby and don't feel shy about leaving, but I didn't, if you guys hadn't met him, I couldn't remember.
No, I have not.
Okay, yeah.
It's nice to meet you, JT.
Thanks, Marilyn. I would love to just see the map at some point. Do you actually need me to put like a formal request?
No, I can get that for you. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, Don, I just saw him leaving.
I mean, I can keep talking. I'm just giving you this information.
Don, Brad has his hand up.
Yes.
I was just hoping suggesting that the fire department personnel be aware of your discussion, because it might affect, they might see something that is different from just sight lines that would affect their equipment, that's all.
Actually, that's a good point. I'm not sure anyone in the fire department has seen our different landscape ideas.
No, I haven't.
I will share this with you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Fred.
Where's your big laminated plans, map?
It doesn't have quite this. It's in the other room.
Oh, okay. This is your preferred map?
It's the one I grabbed first. Not necessarily preferred.
Okay.
Are you asking for an okay of the board to proceed, or is that even necessary?
Probably not anything okay until I tell you a variety and a specific
Well,
site.
that's true. We have time.
Okay.
I'll send out an email after the 10th.
Okay.
And if you want a vote on the 21st, we can do it. But they'll probably buy the tree before then.
Oh, and for 15 days.
Well, if you think that would slow the process down, I'm sure we could vote on it this evening. I don't feel there's anything other than support for the project. Somebody just needs to make a motion.
I make a motion that we authorize the planting of a tree and authorize Don Hollister to oversee the selection and the location. Is that too many words, Cynthia?
I got it.
I'll second it.
We have a vote in a second. Any further discussion regarding the tree? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the Yellow Springs Girl Scout troop to plant a tree on township property at the township building environs, with trustee Hollister overseeing the selection and location. Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Did you bring the contract?
No, they want me to authorize and then sign online.
Oh, okay. Any other new business? Any other new business this evening? Thank you. We have, well, we had two, but we took care of one, the relocation of the records.
Good.
And we're down to consideration for hiring a cybersecurity firm, specifically Tech Associates?
Tech Advisors.
Tech Advisors, I'm sorry. I will open the board to questions or comments, and then we'll entertain a motion to contract with them.
And, okay, I want you to say, Don, that I did have a lengthy discussion with Thor Sage and Rebecca.
Yeah, you told me.
Okay, so about the ins and outs and everything, and how long it would take for them, helping them to understand exactly what we needed. I don't think they were real super clear on the detail and the nuance of what we needed. And then I called my references back at the village and at the Xenia Township, and I've come to the conclusion that Tech Advisors would be the best bet for us, the most effective ones for us, but that's my opinion.
You want to make a motion to that effect?
I'd like to make a motion that we contract with Tech Advisors to be our IT and cybersecurity contractors.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Do we have to put a time thing in? Do I give them a 1 year?
I think they do it on
Okay,
a year.
They do a year, okay.
If you're saying for 1 year, that's part of your motion?
Well, he said that their contract is a yearly contract. They go year by year.
If you're specific about 1 year, I'll second the motion.
Sure, 1 year.
And keep in mind, it's written that we can walk away from it with minimal notification anytime. We're not contracted for a year. They're contracted for a year. We're contracted until we don't want them. And I just don't recall from the contract what that notification period is for us to ask them to go away. But be that as it may, the 1 year is.
If that's written in the motion, that it be for up to 1 year, I will.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion regarding this motion? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
I was just going to say.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I did talk with Becca, and they speak well of Tech Advisors, but also say that since they're, I don't know if they're technically a government entity that is MBECA, but they're a nonprofit entity, and that their per hour rate is significantly lower, that likely in the long run they would be less expensive.
Well, that was the,
But
yeah.
But their depth and breadth of service is much wider.
I think I explained with Thor, it's not just a help desk. We're not looking for a help desk. We're looking for somebody to come in, look at what we're doing, which software, which access is on each computer, if we're doing our compliance right, and
well, this is.
So it's, and then when I mentioned that, he said, well, we have to come in and discover, see what you're talking about. We'd probably have to find out for ourselves. It would probably take a month. So
It would take, yeah, it would be.
So when you say $1 an hour, companies have a monthly fee to manage you and keep abreast of all the new state compliances and stuff. So and there are some things they might do, like hook your computer up to a printer where they charge $1 an hour, but I'm not seeing that either one of us, if they were really bidding on the contract, would be charging by the hour.
I'm just trying to repeat.
Oh, okay.
What you
Okay,
said.
I was just making that clear.
I seconded the motion.
Any further discussion about the motion? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to enter into a 1-year contract with Tech Advisors for IT cybersecurity services. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes,
Motion to approve.
thank you. Any other old business? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
We are adjourned by acclamation. Thank you.
6:35.
All for coming.